All right, what's up, traders? Welcome. It's Tuesday morning. We got a few things to talk about this morning. Anyways, obviously Bitcoin's down at the bottom end of the range. It's flirting with daily support right now. Your low is right there. It is still intact. We do not typically want to see that be taken out because then you will have a lower high, lower low sequence. And we've been trading sideways for a while, so we're looking for a pullback. This day right here is your halving. So basically, yeah, nothing's happening yet. There, and tomorrow we have the FOMC. So we kind of thought markets were going to actually be chill today. But if I pull this over, you can see right now that the markets are anything but chill. We did get some information out, some data. It was only 2-star data. It's the U.S. Employment Cost Index. I bet nobody was even looking at this generally, but we did get a tick up. This is wage pressures. This is something the Fed does not want to see. Absolutely not. We got higher inflation. Now we got sticky wages, sticky inflation, wage pressures. That means the Fed is not going to be able to cut. If you remember the market at the end of 2023 Q4, we were pricing in a potential 6 rate cuts for the year of 2024. Now, with everything going on, you're lucky to get one. That's right. As of right now, the CME Fed watch tools nearest even potential for a rate cut is in September. That's at the end of the year. That's Q4. So maybe one cut. They definitely need this data to turn around. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. This thing's lagged out. Anyways, let's wait for it. Oh, there it goes. So yeah, let's go all the way out here to September. There's a 90. You can see even now. Yesterday, this was almost exactly the same as far as if they were going to cut in September or not. Now with today's data, you can see that this has ticked back up. So even now in September, there's a higher probability that there will not be a rate cut. So what does this mean for the markets? Well, obviously, if we just go look real quick at the marketplace, here is October. So we put in a low here, and then November, December. The market was literally pricing in a lot of rate cuts. And then tech also flying because everybody getting really, really bullish. And a lot of this right here is going to probably pull back if the Fed comes out hawkish. Now, I do not believe the Fed is going to come out extremely hawkish tomorrow. In fact, that we're not going to get any dot plot matrices or any of that information that the real good stuff, but it's literally just going to be you're not going to see a rate cut, and then you're going to get your press conference, and I'm pretty sure he's probably going to try to go in there and just act a little bit dovish still, saying that we do still want to have some rate cuts. Unfortunately, the data is not really working out for us to do so. He's going to be very, very, very meticulous in the way that he speaks tomorrow. So, but I'm sure it's probable at this point that we're going to see the market pull back a little bit. And we've been looking for the market to pull back a little bit because it's just been so bullish, and the data just the macro data did not really support such bullish activity. So yeah, a pullback is what we were looking for, and a pullback is what we've gotten so far. I don't know if you're going to get like a severe pullback tomorrow or anything, but I would say, we're probably going to be in a range bound marketplace for the majority of the rest of the year. Unless we get some rate cuts, and we get those rate cuts, the data's going to have to start cooperating. Yesterday, so first off, let's go talk about Ethereum, because Sunday in the members only and Patreon live stream that we do every Sunday at 11 a.m., we were talking about potentially shorting Ethereum here, and this was literally during the stream. basically what I was telling everybody to do is wait for this high to be taken out. And then if you want to short wherever the high of day is at that point, you could potentially look to take that short. Now, I'm not sure if anybody in the Discord did take that short. I did not, because we closed hourly above this is daily resistance right here. And since we closed this hourly and then that hourly there, I just let it lift it alone. And then I come back like 3 hours later and look at the charts and realize that it was definitely a trade that should have been taken. Absolutely. But you can see there, that has pulled back really, really good. So that was one trade this week that we were discussing. And then yesterday, I just randomly posted a trade on oil. We'll go look at oil real fast. And right here is where I posted that trade. Here, let's just go look at it on Twitter real quick. Right there. So watching to see if oil rolls over here, at least for the day. That's at weekly res, daily res. Weekly res is here, daily res is the upper line. So you can see that here on the hourly time frame. And if we drop down to the 5-minute chart, you can see right here is where that post took place. So the red candle was right here. And now it's, it's looking pretty darn good. So if you took that trade, take profits, move your stop to break even, and you're good to go. All right, so that's oil and Ethereum. Bitcoin's at daily support, so I can't take the short on Bitcoin where it currently is. I do love this, and I do want this to break down so much because I'm still holding puts on it, and I'm going to hold puts on it for a while. My, theory being that the markets are probably going to pull back some here in the coming weeks, and I think oil will be a part of it. Because the closer we get to election, they're gonna wanna get this lower, obviously, for election purposes. And lower oil also will help out with the regular CPI. Not too much with core, but the main CPI number, the headline number, will absolutely be helped if oil does pull back a little bit. So the conflict, they are currently working on a potential resolution for the conflict over there in the Middle East. Hopefully they can do that. That would also put a little bit of sell side pressure on oil, in my opinion. So hence the reason why we were looking for shorts. Also, if you look at the volume, which is something that I rarely look at, on this day right here, you can see a massive spike in volume. Right now, if you see this candle, it's a breakout candle. You got this crazy candle here. A lot of people looked at this chart and thought that it was going to be bullish. However, the next day, you only got a little bit of continuation, and then it ended up closing red. So that is the reason right there in a nutshell why we were looking for the short on oil yesterday. All right. That volume right there is not just buy volume. There's probably a lot of sell side volume in that. And that's the reason why we were looking to take that short. Flawless trade, flawless entry. Beautiful, beautiful trade. So that's that. All right. A few other things. Tesla, obviously, this little jump right here. I heard on Bloomberg this morning them saying that this move up to yesterday's close increased Elon Musk's net worth by $34 billion. That's amazing how much price fluctuates inside of this stock, how much he lost in the move down. It's just crazy to think that, in 4 days, your net worth can increase by $34 billion just because your company had some good news. So good for Elon. The TLTs is coming off pretty hard before the market opened this morning. We're getting ready to come into the bell here, and I definitely want to probably sell a call on the S&Ps. So let me pull my program over here. Oh, sorry. No. Damn thing. Give me 1 second here, because it absolutely did. I did not want that to happen. All right, let y'all look at that chart for 1 minute. All right. Now we're back over here. Pull this back over. And let's get this going here. We want to pull up the micro ES, so that would be MES. And the reason I want to sell a call is, this move here on that information, if it can get back up to around this area here, I would love to take that position. And I'm not selling it far out. I'm only going to sell it about 3 days out. I'm not looking to make a lot of money on this trade. The way this works, if you're not familiar, it's simple. Whatever the price is here, you just times that by 5. So let's say if we sold the 5,200 calls, you can see that's not far enough. We got to bring this down a little bit. Right there would be fine. So we'll sell the 5190s. See if we can get a fill on that. Filled instantly. All right, so the reason I'm doing that is simple. If the day continues to move lower, then I'll probably be able to take that trade off before we actually get to the Fed meeting. All right, because depending on what he says is obviously going to make the market move. But if we get continuation of downside tomorrow morning, then I'll be able to take that trade off before, and then maybe even buy a put. It's just going to be dependent on what he says. Tesla's still looking really good. If we go to the Magnificent Seven, we're going to see that a lot of these things have had really good earnings, and we got a nice big jump on earnings here, but it has since been selling off right back down to almost where we on the day we had the earnings. So that's kind of odd on Microsoft. Apple also had a nice spike, but they got earnings on Thursday. We have Amazon earnings this evening. So there are, some drivers here that could potentially make that trade that I just opened a loser. If Amazon has really good earnings, for instance, it could affect the S&P 500. And they are looking for Amazon to beat, as far as Bloomberg and some analysts. Google was trading at all-time highs on a gap. Earnings did cause Google to gap up to all-time highs, and that has been pulling back a little bit, but you're still trading at the highs on Google. Meta's down today a little bit. It had a significant drop down on a beat on earnings. So a lot of your tech darlings pulling back here. Nvidia or Netflix had a beat on earnings and also a pullback. And in Intel, I don't know what happened to Intel. They're just getting absolutely wrecked. Wrecked. It's almost back down to the 2023 prices, which is insane considering all the other chip sector stocks are absolutely have killed it last year and this year. So a lot of crazy things happening out there in the marketplace. We're going to pull up the 30-year yields. You can see it's climbing, making its way back up to 5% there. Not good. Same for the 20 and the 5 and the 10, all of them. 2-year has already breached 5%. All right. So this is probably going to, let's go see if this is affecting it in any way. All right, so not really. We do have the yield curve inversion actually moving in the right direction, but it's usually after these things get back above zero is when the recessions come. If there is going to be a recession, obviously. We don't know if there's going to be one, but if there is going to be one, we'll be ready for it. Nonetheless, and I wanted to pull up the TLT real quick, and it's right there. So Pulling back a little bit here on a gap down. You can really see it better on this chart. The TLT is going to be right there. It's coming off pretty good this morning. Had a pretty good day yesterday. Well, no, it didn't. Actually, it just had a very slow day. But here you go. You got this move here. Now, yeah, these things generally don't trade together, but they seem to be today. So a lot of things going on. Love that move on oil. Love that move on oil. All right, so here we are. Yeah, those are basically the only things I wanted to talk about. Obviously, if my internet will allow, I will try to go live during the press conference so that way we can look for any potential trades or trade entries that occur during or once the news breaks. Remember, we get the news at 2 o'clock. The actual interest rate decision, that is, will be at 2 o'clock. And then you will have your speech at 2:30 all the way down here. And there is quite a bit of data coming out tomorrow as well. I mean, you got ADP non-farm employment. You have S&P Global U.S. manufacturing PMIs, ISM manufacturing, JOLTS. You got crude oil inventories and then FOM statement. And then Friday or Thursday, we'll have Apple's earnings. And then Friday, we literally will have FOMC, not FOMC, but NFP. So non-farm payrolls, big, huge week for potential market moving stuff this week. Such good. Here we go. So these are pretty much the only things that Powell is going to be discussing tomorrow. Why is inflation so sticky? These are going to be questions that are going to be asked after the press conference. How long is for longer? And this is in reference to higher interest rates. So higher for longer. Is policy restrictive enough? This is asking, they're literally going to ask him, are you guys thinking about raising interest rates? That would be a hawkish pivot, also bearish for the market. And then would you consider raising rates, which is literally these two are literally the same exact question, just written differently. But there you have it. So a lot of stuff going on for the Fed right now, not really doing good. They are really having a bad time. Everything that literally they don't want to happen is happening. Bitcoin's down 4% on the day. It is a bearish engulfing. And it is after you had this move into weekly supply or support there. This is literally the area we were looking for it to turn around, and it did. It's just fantastic stuff. I mean, how often do you see these types of moves? It happens quite frequently. These are the areas where you guys would typically be looking to take your trades, right? That's what I've been teaching you for the past almost 3 years now. Here is daily support. So like if you did want to go long, which I wouldn't because of so much bearish momentum coming into the target area, if it would have been a little bit slower, then yes. But since you're having almost a 4.3% drop going into the support, it's probably not likely to give you a good long. But the hourlies are struggling. If we pull up the hourly chart here, you can see the hourlies are struggling to close under that daily support. So just keep your eye on that level. The level is 61,179 spot 03. 61179 spot 03. That is the area of interest that I'm talking about for all of you who are not watching but just listening. That is daily support. If we lose that area, then obviously this low right here will be the target for the downside. And that low comes in at 59,224 spot 68. All right, so we will be out of the $60 or $60,000 region for Bitcoin. So is it possible that the halving has already been priced in? I mean, we did make fresh all-time highs before we got the halving. Obviously, everybody thought once the halving happens, we will see Bitcoin go to the moon again. But with the macroeconomic outlook, it doesn't look good. I mean, it really doesn't. it looks like one could argue that potentially you've already had your bull market, and there are a few people saying that out there, but I still believe, I still will believe until after, if we go 6 or 7 months and Bitcoin does not make fresh highs, then obviously one could probably assume that the halving is not going to have an effect on Bitcoin this year. Remember, Bitcoin, this was the first time ever that it did make an all-time high before the halving. So I would say those ETFs had a lot to do with it, and the fact that every other market that is a risk market or growth sector was literally ripping to the moon. And that's typically when Bitcoin does really good. So we definitely, as a whole, if you are like just long and strong Bitcoin, which I am, I do hold a lot of Bitcoin in cold storage. So obviously I want it to go up. But the rest of the market's going to basically be the dictator of that, I think. If we can get these numbers to basically come back in line with what the Fed wants, and we can get inflation to literally start to go down, then I could see Bitcoin's bullishness coming back. But if inflation turns around and starts to spike in the upward direction, it's going to absolutely hurt the price of Bitcoin. It absolutely will. We're seeing gold, hit all-time highs and stuff like that. It's just, yeah, it's not looking great. But let's move on here. Obviously, I didn't say anything on Twitter about USDJPY yesterday. There's no point. Who was it? I made a comment about it. Let me go up to the Discord real quick and find that comment. I can't remember. I want to say it was... probably not going to be able to find it. Dow Jones said that they thought the BOJ intervened. I haven't looked to see if they made a comment of intervention or not as far as the BOJ is concerned. But this does look like an intervention candle. We'll see if it rolls over. Watch resistance. If it's going to roll over, that's the area where we want to see it roll over at. All right. You probably won't get all the way up there if they did intervene. But the thing is we're not seeing that intervention on the dollar. We did see it on the yen, but if they did intervene, then you would expect to see that on the dollar as well. And though we did get some pretty good sell side on the dollar yesterday, you held support on the close, and today you're going back up to test resistance. So pretty weird stuff going on here. Intervention on the BOJ's part is going to put sell side pressure on the dollar. That could help Bitcoin as long as the buyers are still buying Bitcoin. And at these high prices, it's hard to say. You know what I mean? But people are able to buy it, obviously, thanks to the ETFs. They are able to buy it cheap. If they go the route of buying through the ETFs. All right, we're going to be wrapping this up pretty quick. It's just going to be a quick live stream this morning. I have some appointments I have to take care of today. S&P's moving back to the upside. Great call on ETH. Yeah, it was a good call on ETH. It was also a great call on oil. Obviously, it's still moving to the downside here. I would love to see it get well under 1%. I would love to see that 1% handle, and I would want to see it close under, because that would be a breach of support, and that would be a fantastic trade. I do want to hold this for a little bit longer. Yeah, it'd be nice if I can hold that trade for a few more days if we get downside continuation. I only bought it 18 days or 19 days out. So I'll probably close it if it's unable to close above or close below this support level. I'll just go ahead and close out oil trade because we can always re-enter a position. All right. We can always re-enter a position. Let's get rid of that. We got a monthly supply level there. And monthly res right above it. So, yeah, it looks good for more downside continuation. I would love to see it pull back. Only time will tell, though. I'm keeping a close eye on Iran-Israel stuff. It seems to be improving. The WH is pressuring Hamas to take the peace deal. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. Yeah, if they take that, then it could definitely help. Send crypto down another 50% so I can buy that dip. I mean, that's pretty much where most people stand on Bitcoin. Really, if you think about it. They definitely want to buy it. So, yeah. Let's see if it can get, I don't know if we're going to get down 50%, but we'll see. Hope we don't. Yeah, peace is definitely what everybody wants, for sure. Peace, for sure. All right, so yeah, that's oil. Pound dollar having a down day today, but that's only because the dollar was spiking earlier based on that news. And if you're just showing up, the news that we got that sent the ES futures contracts lower was this wage pressure issue. This is literally a 2-star economic calendar thing, so nobody was paying attention to it. And Chicago PMIs was down too, but that's actually bearish for the dollar. That's why the ES is spiking back to the upside. So, I mean, if the ES can spike back up to the upside, then picking up a long position here on Bitcoin might be a good play for today. Remember, if you do take the long, it's just a day trade. You're not looking for upside continuation. Like, you're not looking to get long here and expecting it to go all the way up here. If you get long here, I would just, your stop loss, first of all, is only going to be right there at that low. So technically, all you need is to retest this breakdown candle here. And that would be a fantastic area to look to shed the position or take profits and move your stop to break even. Because even though it is in an uptrend on a weekly basis, you're still miles away from your daily or your weekly 21 exponential. You still got some room to go before you get there. So literally just now breaking outside of the overbought region. So yeah, if we can get this thing down to around 60 and closer to 50, it could be an area to look to be a buyer. So that's why if you were to take the long entry today, it would literally just be for a small intra-range day trade. All right. But you need the S&Ps to really stay bullish all day. And I can't tell what they're doing. So essentially the S&Ps is just retesting when the news came out. So it's just retesting the 830 candle. So there's that news break. Boom, down she goes. We are back above the VWAP, though, on an intraday basis. We'll see if price is able to stay above it. The VWAP comes in right about this wick on this downside candle here. So around 5108. It's not the same price on the ES futures. The price on the ES futures is 5135, where the VWAP comes in. Oil is continuing to go lower. It's looking really, really good. That was a good trade, a good call out and a good trade. We called it out yesterday up here. So looking good. Got to love the media when it comes to Powell asking the same thing twice. Yeah, obviously they do that a lot. I'm not seeing Bitcoin drop below the yearly open. Yeah, I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want to see it happen. Definitely, I do not want to see Bitcoin drop below 2024's yearly opening range, as that could smell for a disaster or spell a disaster. The IWM is literally fighting with its very own yearly opening range currently. And it's very, once you get below this, in some cases, not always, but in some cases, the sellers will really show up here. So probably wouldn't be a bad idea to throw on a put spread on this. But here's the thing: I don't want to be bearish the S&Ps and bearish IWM. You do got to have some bullish positions just in case you're wrong on your bearish thesis. It kind of helps the portfolio out. It's another way to kind of keep your risk level, so you're not risking too much. You don't have too many open positions looking for the same exact move to happen. All right. So is there any questions? Does anybody have any questions about any asset class? Is there any asset class that you need me to analyze for you before we jump off of the live stream? I'm just looking around. The Qs had a gap up. They're back down near the open. Bitcoin currently breaking down under. So essentially what I'm looking at is just the upper monitor right there. You can see that I got pretty much everything that I need to look at to see how the overall market is doing. And everything is basically, looking like today's going to be a down day. And an update on the dollar. But ultimately, it's going to be the close that matters, not where we are right now. How many times have we seen the market sell off at the beginning of the day, come noon, put a bottom in, and then end up closing higher on the day at the end of the day? It happens quite frequently, actually. So I wouldn't doubt it one bit if we didn't close higher today. Did we take out yesterday's low on this? We did not. Did we take out yesterday's low on the futures? 17,791. Yes, we did. We took it out by $1. We got 17,791 and then 17,790. So on the actual futures, you did in fact take this out. So like if we were going to roll over today, this would be where I'd be looking for it to do so, as that would be consistent with a supply candle on the daily time frame. This is an area for potential short entries. If you continue to make higher highs and higher lows on the 5-minute time frame, then unfortunately the short thesis is incorrecto. All right, so make sure you don't just keep trying to short it because I have a bearish outlook on the asset today. You would take one swing at it. You get short and then you throw your stop somewhere up in here. If you get stopped out, you're done for the day. Because tomorrow is the actual day that we're going to see some movement on these things. Yeah, pretty big spike there at 8:30. We're still miles away from that 158.32 area. I'm not even sure if this would be. Yeah, so you're roughly around the midpoint of yesterday's candle. This is another area where if it was going to have downside continuation, I would want to see that happen here. But with the dollar strength this morning, you may continue to go higher. Let's see if we got anything on the 4-hour. Yeah, you're pretty close, but this big strong wick right here pretty much destroys this candle of being supply. It literally does. I mean, it was just a quick wick. No, it lasted for a few hours, actually. Yeah. So we'll keep our eyes on this. Remember, even if they did intervene, you're probably just going to have a few days of pullback before the market participants come right back in and start buying it back up. The interest rate differential is what's keeping this thing bullish. All right, so no questions at all, huh? Let's go look at the XLF real quick. XLF rolling over. This is good for a bearish thesis. Energy rolling over also would be good for a bearish thesis. I hate this new pop out thing, man. It drives me crazy. XLK having a slight move to the upside today. Currently trading above resistance, but yesterday's open will be the area of potential res. So it'd be 292 cents on the XLK, excuse me. And then oil's down nicely now. So we're seeing a slight move down in the energy sector. All these, the XLF and the XLE are very good for keeping the S&P 500 down as long as tech doesn't explode to the upside. And tech is still currently down, but it's getting ready to be even. All it's got to do is hit yesterday's close, which is right there, and your down will be zero. So, yeah, we'll see how that plays out. So the current open positions on the small portfolio are, we have a put on oil, and we just sold a call on the S&P 500 ES futures contracts. So this is the short position we are currently in. That looks very nice. Very, very nice. We got in it yesterday. For anybody that's new, just showing up. We took the short yesterday in oil, and we just took a short position on this. So I definitely want to see this close lower today. And the position I took on it was selling a call. That position is currently down, but it's only down by $10. And the oil position is up. It's up $126. But Bitcoin is, the hourly is currently trying to break down here from daily support. 61,179.03 is the level of support, daily support on Bitcoin. That is the relevant area that we are watching. But we are not going to expect it to hold if the rest of the markets stay bearish. So yeah, SPY really hasn't done anything, or the ES futures haven't done anything since Friday. If we go look at the daily, you're going to see that, I mean, essentially you haven't done anything. This is Friday's candle here. So we had a big day on Thursday, huge up day. Friday, nothing really. And then Monday was, it was an up day, but it was very, very small up day. Nothing to write home about. Can we please check Solana? Yeah, we check Solana. Yeah, it's breaking down as well. It looks more like Ethereum than it does Bitcoin. I mean, ETH is just making lower highs and lower lows. So Solana looks very much like that. Current daily support on Solana is going to be here. And then your 2024 yearly open is at 101.47. These are the two areas that I would be a potential buyer at if I was bullish on Solana. If it breaks down below this yearly opening range, then I would no longer be bullish on Solana. No longer be bullish on Solana. Let's go check dominance real fast, only because I haven't looked at it in a very long time. Its Bitcoin dominance has been moving up a little bit, not much. Not much. It's just slightly moving higher. So yeah, those are the two levels that I would be interested on Solana. 125.48 and 101.47. You could hold at support here around 112 as well. 112.57. Because you do have a weekly demand candle right there. But you have to watch it, make sure that it forms support at least on a daily basis before you look for those entries. Because just like getting long here right now on Bitcoin would not be the thing to do, would it? Because price is currently showing you that it's not holding. You would want to see, a couple hours, at least 3 or 4 here of not being able to break down, and then you would take that entry. But I mean, the trend is clear. The near-term trend is getting more and more clear. It is still in a range, but if it takes out that low, your range is broken. And it will be broken to the downside. And that is the low of which I speak, 59,224. All right, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Like I said, if I am able to go live tomorrow when the Fed has the press conference, I will. We already know that he's going to be, dovish, but he's going to try to remain dovish, but we know that the data is not really working out for them. So, they're kind of in a bad place right now. So, yeah, if I can, I will. And if that happens, I guess I'll see you tomorrow. If not, we'll be back live Thursday. You guys make sure you all trade safe, trade smart, and as always, happy trading.